Her phone buzzed nonstop the moment Samantha walked into her apartment. She had just returned from meeting her ex, an encounter she thought would be casual, harmless, nothing more than a coffee and some friendly closure. But when she stepped inside, the first thing she saw was Ryan, standing in the living room, his face calm, almost impossibly calm. And then she noticed the screens, her social media notifications exploding, wedding hashtags, videos, posts, every detail of our wedding plastered online. Why is your wedding everywhere online? Samantha screamed, her voice cracking, trembling with disbelief and anger. She threw her bag down like it weighed 1,000 pounds, pacing in circles, eyes darting between the laptop, the tablet, and Ryan. I can't believe this. How did you? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't interrupt. I didn't raise my voice. I simply watched, letting her words collide with the quiet confidence I had been building for months. In my line of work or my life, really, control and composure were everything. And right now I had both. Samantha had made her choice long before she screamed at me. She had walked into my world thinking she could stir chaos, thinking that visiting her ex would somehow disrupt me, that her past would intimidate or unsettle me. She hadn't realized that the man standing before her had already moved past insecurity, past jealousy, past the need to prove anything to anyone. You knew he'd be there, she finally said, stopping mid-step, her voice sharp but unsure. You posted all of this knowing I was going to see it? This humiliation. I raised a single eyebrow, letting the weight of my silence answer for me. Samantha's eyes widened, searching, desperate for a reaction, any hint of fear, anger, or loss of control. But I didn't flinch. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. The truth was simple. I wasn't seeking revenge. I was showing her the consequences of her own choices. Her ex? He had been irrelevant the moment she stepped into my life. The casual coffee meetup? A harmless illusion she had clung to, thinking it mattered. And now, confronted with the evidence of her own miscalculations, Samantha realized the world she thought she could manipulate had no power over me. The room was quiet except for her heavy breathing. The digital echo of our wedding projected on every device, a constant reminder of her absence, her regret, her loss. Samantha's hands shook as she picked up her phone, scrolling frantically through the notifications. Every post, every comment, every shared story of our wedding was there, visible to the world and most painfully visible to her. The friends she thought she mattered to, the people who once envied her, were now seeing her irrelevance reflected back at her through the lives she had tried to control. You can't just, she stammered, voice rising despite her disbelief. This is my life. How could you do this? I finally spoke, my voice steady, controlled, and calm. I didn't do anything, Samantha. This isn't about me. This is about what happens when you choose to be careless with other people's trust. Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I thought she might argue further, try to twist reality to her favor, to reclaim some shred of dominance. But the truth was heavier than her ego. It pressed down on her like the weight of every decision she had made. The lies she told, the choices she thought were harmless, the boundaries she ignored. Ryan, she said finally, her tone quieter, almost pleading. You don't understand. I just wanted closure. I wanted to see him one last time and you thought that mattered more than what you already had? I interrupted gently. You thought a single meeting would erase the years we built together, the trust we had? That's not how life works. Her breathing grew shallow. The defiance that had once defined her started to crumble. She was realizing too late that the world doesn't revolve around her impulses, that every reckless choice has consequences, that even the smallest betrayals, small in her mind, can destroy the life she thought she controlled. She sank onto the sofa, her hands clasped over her face. The energy in the room had shifted. Where once she had been loud and certain, now there was only silence, punctuated by the faint hum of notifications reminding her of a celebration she was no longer part of. I walked past her, not out of arrogance but out of certainty. My life had moved forward. My wedding, my happiness, my future. It was all intact, and nothing she did could undo it. And yet, in that quiet moment, I watched the realization settle in. That laugh, that confidence, that sense of control she had always wielded like a weapon, it was gone, replaced by something far more potent. Regret. Samantha's eyes met mine, and for the first time in months, I saw the woman who had once underestimated me truly see me. Not just as someone to challenge, but as someone she had lost. She stayed on the sofa for what felt like hours, silent except for the occasional sigh or sniffle. I didn't move toward her. I didn't apologize. I didn't offer comfort. That wasn't my role anymore. The woman who had underestimated me, who had thought a casual visit with her ex could disrupt my life, needed to confront the reality of her own actions. I didn't think it would matter, she whispered finally, her voice breaking. I thought you wouldn't even notice. I thought you'd still care about me. I shook my head slowly. You thought wrong. I do care about myself. And if that means leaving behind someone who can't respect what we had, then that's what I do. Her gaze fell to the floor, shame washing over her features. She had spent years believing that charm and manipulation could shield her from consequences. That confidence, that arrogance, had brought her to this very moment, alone, confronted with the results of choices she hadn't fully considered. You're happy, she said, almost as a statement, almost as if asking permission to believe it. I am, I said simply, because I focused on what mattered, my life, my future, my happiness. Not a fleeting sense of control you tried to wield. Her hands trembled as she picked up her phone again, scrolling through the comments and messages about our wedding. The people who mattered to me had celebrated, congratulated, and supported. The people she thought she impressed were just spectators, witnessing her regret in real time. I can't believe I messed up everything, she murmured. I wanted him, but I lost you. I wanted excitement, but I lost stability. I didn't see it until it was too late. I let her words hang in the air. There was no redemption here for her, no reset button. This wasn't punishment I was giving her. This was life delivering the consequences she had earned. And in watching her face, I felt nothing but clarity and peace. I walked toward the door, ready to leave her with her thoughts, her guilt, and her realization. Samantha, I said once, turning back slightly. Next time you think a careless choice doesn't matter, remember today. And remember what you lost because you didn't value it when you had it. She nodded silently, tears streaming down her face, and I knew she finally understood. Not just the loss of me, but the loss of trust, respect, and the life she could have had if she had only been present, only been honest, only been aware. I stepped outside, leaving her in the apartment, in the echo of a life she had nearly destroyed herself. And in that quiet I realized the victory wasn't in humiliating her. It was in living my own life fully, without regret, without her, and completely unshakable.